Hello everyone, welcome back to Whoops, let me unactivate that by accident for a second there. Alright, so, I'm going to be going on ahead and talking about a very unusual area that for a very long time I had some problems with, because one of the really nice things about Grim Dawn is that it's pretty easy to play this in short bursts. Actually, that's part of the reason. That's one of the two primary reasons why I keep the Grim Dawn episodes so short, is because people tend to prefer them between 10 and 15 minutes, and also if you work a full-time job and you've got kids and other responsibilities or whatever, Grim Dawn is actually, despite what you would think, it's actually a game that you can very easily play in very short bursts and make some legitimate progress, which I try to demonstrate in these videos, that you can, in fact, make meaningful progress in a very short amount of time in this game with not really that much problem. The end game, I will concede, it can take some time investment. I'm not going to beat around the bush there. That's just part of the way. Well, it depends on how you approach the end game. Let me rephrase that. The most efficient method of farming for cool items and fighting cool enemies, the most efficient way of doing that is rather time-consuming. It's a rather serious time investment that I think a lot of people would only seriously have time for on weekends. At least people with multiple responsibilities would only have time for on weekend nights. But you can, in fact, just even if it's a weekday and you have other responsibilities and not much time, you can still play the end game in a reasonable amount of time, with certain exceptions. And I'll talk about these exceptions as we go along, but one of the places that for the longest time I considered a exception, a location that takes a little bit longer than normal, was in fact Old Arkovia here. And this was mostly because of just my personal mild OCD-like tendencies. I don't think I actually have OCD, but there are some things I get really ornery about for some reason. I don't understand why. But this is actually one of those places that for the longest time really bothered me in that particular aspect. So, right here, of course, we've been going through the undead. Now, I do want to talk about the Arkovian undead enemies, because they are different from the ethereal enemies. The knights themselves, as you've probably seen, have really massive amounts of resistance and health compared to pretty much anything else you've ever seen. Also, they have consistent healers in the form of these skeletal priests, so you are going to want to consistently prioritize the skeletal priests. Think of the skeletal priests as a weaker version of the Grobble shamans, who obviously can heal multiple enemies for a sizable amount of health. Skeleton priests don't heal multiple enemies, they heal individual targets, which sounds like they're a lot easier, but they're only a bit easier, because if they start healing up a knight, you're going to be there forever unless you get rid of the priest. So just keep that in mind. Oh. That is a mildly better version. But anyways, so skeletons generally inflict regular physical damage. They've got some piercing damage with the crossbowmen, all the elements, as you can see, from the knights, and vitality, interestingly enough, from the skeleton warlocks, although this is admittedly pretty rare. This guy, the skeletal warlocks, they bust out vitality and I think some chaos damage, not too much. It's not really anything to be excessively worried about, but those are the primary damage types you're going to be seeing from the Arkovian undead at the very least. And honestly, considering the prevalence of elemental resistance in the first place, you'll actually notice that getting elemental resistance is one of the easier elements to get your hands on. You're probably not going to have too much of a hard time as long as your equipment is decently updated. You're not wearing anything that's abnormally low level for where you're at. You should really be fine overall, in all honesty. My pierce resistance is slightly lower than I'd like. I would have liked that to have been around 50% or closer to 50%. But that's not like crippling or anything. Okay, unless I die here, in which case, yeah, it would be. Get rid of the skeletal knight while the priest is healing the warlock for some reason. That was a strategically unwise move. Alright, so what I'm doing currently is I'm looking for very specific things. I was actually right there looking for a podium that has a piece of a book on it. Okay. And I obviously didn't find it. It's not here. It didn't spawn here. Usually it'll spawn one of these lecterns, excuse me, not pedestal. One of these lecterns will spawn outside, usually in one of two places, either by the stairs I just descended earlier. I'll point them out again as I pass by once more, or in that circular area that I just went through. It'll usually spawn in one of those two places, but I guess I'm unlucky today. So it didn't spawn here. Now, it's not a problem that it didn't spawn here, in all honesty. It's just going to take me a little bit more time to gather up the pieces from the lectern, and that's just going to be a little bit more inconvenient when I go down into actual or Old Arkovia itself. Now, this area also always has... Oh, here's the lectern. That's better, at least. This place always has a totem in one of three places. This is one of them. Right behind the stairs we're going to go down. I'm going to point it out later on as well. And then there is a very specific other area. I should have waited a couple of seconds for me to fully heal from my constitution, but here we are. There's one other area that a totem will potentially spawn in, but there is always a totem in one of three areas. Guaranteed. I have not in years have I seen... I probably shouldn't be that close. Not in years have I seen a totem not spawn here in one of these three locations. I'm pretty sure that all areas have one totem, at least one totem in them spawning somewhere. It's just that I don't necessarily have all the locations memorized, or either that or some locations are just so out of the way that I just don't care to go there, which is a totally different conversation. Do we want these boots? Chaos resistance versus bleeding resistance. Yeah, the armor is so much better on those. I gotta take those. Curse of Burwitch, which is nice, but I don't really need it right now. Nope, not good enough. Don't need it to shield, especially that one. Don't want a gun, don't want a gun. Not bad. Might as well, because once again, I'm trying to keep my equipment updated. Oh, but my elemental resistance goes down by, well, specifically my fire resistance as well. Well, we'll go ahead and go for it. Yep. So if you want to just pop around the area and just look for the totem if you want, again, you don't have to. The area is definitely easier or faster if you don't, but I needed to come over here anyways because I needed to talk to Belvaruk over here, who is going to ask us to kill 3 ghost heroes down in the Old Arkovian ruins. They're mostly on the way down to the very last section with a shrine, but you don't necessarily need to go all the way down there either. We'll talk about that when I get there, but you are going to at least want this shrine here, and if you are looking for that quest with the Necromancer, it's not required or anything, but it does give you a nice boost, and it becomes, you get extra bonuses from a dungeon we'll be talking about later on. So we're just going to go in ahead. By the way, right back there to the north, to the immediate north of those stairs is where one of the totem spawn locations is. Now we're just going to go on ahead and pop over here. Blast all these guys. Leaving just the knight and this really random crossbowman who somehow took less damage than everyone else. Oh, wait, no, I think one of the priests healed him. Never mind. That's not what we need. And so we're just going to go on ahead and deal with these skeletons. Yes, I did intentionally mispronounce that. And then we're just going to pop on over here. Get rid of these. This is an optional room. I just usually come in here for the golden experience, to be honest. Get rid of you guys. Oh, boy. There we go. I was going to say, the Haunted Champion might be a little bit of a problem. Nope, we're fine. Ah, there's another one of the lecterns. Good. We're going to go ahead and get rid of these guys really quick. There we go. And goodbye. And in we go. We're just going to go on ahead and grab this lectern. Very nice. We were leveling this up so we could grab that, but we're not going to actually... random separate page, which is nice. Throw that over there. Might as well get rid of these guys so they don't chase me to the ends of the earth. It'd be very inconvenient. Very inconvenient indeed. Just gonna waltz on over here. And wait, where did you come from? You weren't here 2 seconds ago. Excuse me. I wasn't talking about you guys. You didn't need to show up. You didn't need to show up for this. Okay. Too many crossbowmen. My pierce resistance isn't high enough to handle all these crossbowmen. Alright, that takes care of most of that problem, except for this random survivor. Not anymore, okay. I'm just gonna pop in here, and... You're not one of the ones... No, I don't think so. You're just some random spirit hero. Which nobody needed in their lives, but okay. Perfect. Alright. Nope. Blast you all with the Eye of Poison. Get rid of all of you. Perfect. That's right, everyone gets poisoned by my amulet. Have a nice day. Grab our last lectern over here. Throw that right there. Take care of the one of the crossbowmen at least. I thought that we were going to take care of 2 with that, but no. That's some bonus experience. If you don't have this, that's nice to have. Obviously, I already have these. Read that. Get rid of you. Open this chest. Now, the hero that we're looking for, assuming you did choose to take the quest, is going to be located in there. It is not this guy. The hero is a spirit, not a skeleton. Who we are going to just eliminate really quick here. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Throw that over there. Get rid of these guys. Alright, we can probably do without all those sickles of consumption, thank you. This is the guy we're talking about, Nomos Dread. Boom. Alright, the crossbowman is going to die. We don't need to worry about him. There we go. Repoison you. Throw another poison bomb on you. Heal up because you're actually slapping a little bit here. Now, once we eliminate him, we have 2 different choices here. Again, this quest is entirely optional. I don't need that quite yet, but actually, I do actually inflict elemental damage, don't I? Chaos resistance. I lose Aether resistance, but for the time being, I'm not going to need that. I'm in Old Arkovia. No one does Aether damage down here at this point in time. Well, I say that, but one of the heroes does, in fact, actually do Aether damage. One of the heroes for the quest, anyways, does actually inflict Aether damage, and quite a lot of it, too. So we are going to want to keep an eye out for that now that I've reduced my Aether resistance, but it's pretty easy to dodge the attack as well, so I'm not that concerned about it. Get rid of the priests, because holy cow, they're healing en masse. Stop that. There we go. Alright, and then we're just going to have this bevy of skeletons here. Get rid of the knight, hopefully, before. No, he just got mass healed. Alright, we're going to have to take care of you idiots then. Stop healing him. Thank you. Alright, at this point, you have a choice. If you do have the time, you can actually press onwards to the southeast in this way direction here and keep on going. That's where the other 2 heroes usually are. Now, I do want to point out, that sometimes this is unblocked and you can just zip up there, but then you have to kind of come over here, kill Nomos Dread, and then backtrack all the way back here. It's very rare that that particular doorway is open. Every once in a blue moon it happens, but it's not very common. Usually you have to go this way. You have to take the long way, and you can go on and kill the ghosts. But if you don't have the time for whatever reason, you can absolutely pop out of here. Talk to Ghosty Goo here. And then come down here and activate this rift. And then you can just rift here and then go through that door and wind up right there again and give yourself the ability to more quickly access the remaining 2 spirit heroes, Laudos Vagra and Rovina Kerr. they both are further down into that dungeon. But for a long time, I just kept on going. I just handled it all in one go, and quite frankly, that can take. Usually, it takes me at least half an hour, sometimes all the way up to 45 minutes. It really depends on what difficulty I'm on, and how my equipment is at the time. But if you don't have that kind of time investment on the regular, you can absolutely exit out that door, come over here, activate this rift, and then you can just to prove the concept, because I know there are some doors in this game you can't go back through. I'll mention one particularly notable one that rather irks me. But you can absolutely go back through here and wind up right back in the Arkovian Undercity, right where you were before, so that's very convenient. If you, again, don't have the kind of time to blast through the Arkovian Undercity in one go, you can absolutely do this. But I wanted to show you this just in case, because I am keenly aware, as somebody with a full-time job myself and not as much free time as I would personally like, I understand this. I don't have children or anything like that. I don't have those responsibilities. My only primary responsibility is my job, but I do understand that people with full-time jobs have other responsibilities and may not have the time to blast through the entirety of the Arkovian Undercity in one go. So this is a really nice little tip that took me way too long to figure out, that you can use if you want to start that quest, or if you want to start exploring the Arkovian Undercity but don't have a half hour or 45 minutes to do so. This is a really great method that you can use. I think this whole episode took maybe 15 minutes, I think. I'll know specifically when I upload it, but you'll be able to see the time bar at the bottom, actually. So with that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. Please like and subscribe if you liked this. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.